Hey, welcome to Dawn of the Zed podcast, YouTube series, video series. Not exactly sure what to label this creation of mine, but I need to start somewhere. So, gonna start with introduction video. Dive into what exactly I want to accomplish, I guess, with the series in terms of just spreading information, giving information about boutique Blu-rays. Cult movies, rare finds that are now coming out, being distributed by, Arrow Video, Vinegar Syndrome, Shout Factory. There's a bunch of companies we can go over, and I'll probably go over in detail, just to help movie buffs out there who are a little bound by or restrained by streaming in general, because that's really where I got into this whole thing. I used to collect VHS back in the day. Remember Suncoast Video? I used to order John Woo films um, from there, and it would be like $60 and take 3 months to get to me. But it was epic. It was like the first time I got to see The Killer or Hard Boiled, and it was like changed my life. I'm like, Jesus, there's actually action movies that are like this. I mean, to this day, I don't think. Um, an action movie can top Hard Boiled in terms of the amount of gun violence and gun ballet and slow motion. Signature John Woo doves flying around, but that's really where it started, and it kind of fizzled out after DVDs and streaming kind of took over, and found myself kind of just being a lazy cult horror guy who's just okay with what the streaming services were spoon feeding me. And that's not really where it's at. I mean, there's now my eyes are open to so many additions and just different regions. I mean, it's a good idea to get a region free Blu-ray player, or region switchable, I guess. I'll cover that in the series as well. Just somewhere to start for people or cinema buffs who are like, they watch. For instance, Red Letter Media points out a lot of titles that are hard to get streaming or otherwise, and you want to see them. You want to see that those guys are having fun watching these movies,
Oh my God!
or best of the worst reviewing them, or whatever. And it's like, well, where the hell do I get Deadly Prey on like a good quality version of it, rather than just like a scrounged up VHS copy? So, and it is available on Blu-ray, and I have a copy, and I'll probably be going over that in a standalone video as well. So that's basically the point of this whole series, is to introduce myself, Drop Dead Zed, streamer on Twitch at times and other um, streaming platforms. I just wanted to do a series on cult, horror, action, or whatever, what have you. Um, I always talk about it on stream, so why not do kind of a YouTube series, something informational, um, where I can talk about the gear that I got for watching region free Blu-rays, as well as the different companies out there that are supplying these cult films, these glorious cult films, going over trailers.
John Dick, mercenary, recovering from a leg injury, smashes your ball.
And what I've been watching, and what kind of sales are going on, what's coming out, what kind of additions, things of that nature, and as well as welcoming discussions in the comments, informing me what's out there, what other stuff, what cool shit am I not seeing. I mean, I'm so enamored with uh these movies that are coming out by Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow Films. It's wonderful. It's like I feel like back in the day, ordering weird, off the wall horror movies from Suncoast, and chilling and watching them. So hopefully, um, you guys enjoy this series. You can participate in terms of recommending stuff to me because I'm kind of a noob when it comes to Blu-ray. In general, I mean, the typical I have the had the typical stuff, but I fell into that lull of streaming. Like Netflix doesn't have like uh for example, nobody has Romero's Dawn of the Dead. That's I wanted to see Dawn of the Dead one night, and I have a DVD limited edition of it, but I just I wanted to see um a better quality version. I don't know. And then there's region 2, or what's the or whatever. A different region Blu-ray set of it. I don't even think there is a region 1 set of Dawn of the Dead. I'm not sure. But I went ahead and got that, and I'm watching one of my favorite movies in blue in wonderful quality, and has a bunch of special features like commentary. What the fuck happened to commentaries and all that? I used to watch those all the time, or listen to them, I should say, all the time. Um, the original DVD version of Dawn of the Dead I had, and I'd listen to Romero's and Savini's commentary back and forth all the time. It was great, and you just don't get that from streaming platforms. You don't really have commentaries to listen to and stuff. I know it's kind of nitpicky, but also the quality of the films, let alone what films are available, but the quality. I was doing comparisons with my new Blu-ray player, uh, with the Friday 13th series that was on Vudu compared to uh, my regular Blu-ray edition that I had, that I bought back a few years ago, and there is a huge difference still. So I don't know, better quality, special features. You can get different region versions of movies that have different uh, features and qualities, and versions of the actual film too. So we'll get into that on here. This was basically just an introduction. I'm probably going to go into right now the different companies that are out there that are supplying weird and rare cult movies now on Blu-ray and in 4K UHD, um, and also get into the equipment that I actually got, which is basically just a region-free Blu-ray player. But where's a good place to get it? How convenient is it to switch regions? Things like that. So I hope you enjoy the series. Um, and now let's get into some of the more details of uh let's talk about first who's out there, who's distributing cult movies and rare films on Blu-ray. So um thanks for watching. I hope you stick around, and I hope to get comments and feedback and have a little community here of people that are gonna say, hey, you liked Raw Force, or you like Deadly Prey, you're gonna love this movie, blah blah blah, and so on. Because I know there's tons of movies out there um that I don't know about. I mean, I found a couple, like I said, via Red Letter Media, because they always go through schlocky films. But it'd be nice to hear from you guys. So thanks a lot, and let's get into who's actually putting these movies out. All right, kick ass. Okay, I just wanted to touch base on where to find information about Boutique Blu-ray, where to find a player that's region free or multi-region, and the resources in terms of listing out the companies that I know that are restoring some of these films, bringing them to a much higher quality, 4K UHD releases, Blu-ray releases of films that have never really seen the light of day until now. So let's start out with, let me pull up my screen. Um, let's start out with the boutique Blu-ray subreddit. Now, this is where I initially started finding information about releases that I never knew existed on Blu-ray, as well as 4K restorations. And it's a great resource for anything you really want to know in terms of what's coming out in the near future or in the past, or what people are collecting. It's a really good place to start if you want to start looking at where can I find some of the movies that I don't see in normal stores or on streaming. So this is a really good place to start, and it's helped me immensely. It's where I actually found a retailer, which I am going to go into right now. 220 Electronics, or dash electronics.com, is where I went to buy my player. I have my player up here. It is a Sony UBP X700 region free 4K UHD, bro. Um, it's a great little player. It's not the most robust thing. I think normal retail price is $80 or so less without the conversion for worldwide capabilities in terms of playing all the regions, whatnot, and so forth. But it wasn't a bad. It wasn't a. It's kind of a middle of the road player. You can get much more expensive than 300 or so dollars. The 220 has a good reputation, and uh, the player came within a week, I think 5 days. So I have no complaints about it. It's worked great. The only complaint would be it's not the most robust. Like I said, it's not the most robust player. It's a little plasticky, I guess, and lightweight, but there are definitely higher end players. You can get into the thousands of dollars for some of these Blu-ray players that have been converted. The conversion's really simple in terms of playing your multi-region disc, or let's say if I wanted to play region 2 disc, all you do is eject the disc and you hit one of the colored buttons. Each colored button represents one of the regions, and there you go. It switches over. You close that is a open and close function on the remote. You close the disc tray, and then boom, you're good to go. You're playing movies from all over the place. So it's a solid player, solid website, or company, I should say, 220 Electronics. They also sell their products on Amazon as well. If you want that extra kind of Amazon security, I guess, in terms of returns and all that. But in my experience, there's no reason not to trust these guys. They were highly recommended from the boutique Blu-ray subreddit. So it's a good place to start. You don't have to buy my Blu-ray player, of course. There's tons on here that I won't cover. You can do your own research. I'm just telling you from experience. I'm not sponsored by anybody or anything, any of these companies. It's just from my experience. Um, so that basically covers what you need if you're going to start getting into different regions. And then we'll just go over the companies that are putting these films out. Like I've mentioned before a couple of times in the video, uh, we've got Vinegar Syndrome. They're putting out some really great Blu-ray releases of some pretty cool films. I just actually did get this Scanner Cop 1 and 2. I've never actually seen them before. And watching them in 4K Ultra HD was a good way to view the films for the first time. They're actually pretty damn good. I've been a big fan of Cronenberg and Scanners for a long, long time. So they have a ton of releases. They're probably one of my favorite companies that are putting out these type of films. So check them out. You probably, if you're interested in alternative cinema and whatnot, already know about them, but we'll just cover them. They're pretty classic. And then next up would be Arrow Films, which do a lot of the um, different region discs. They actually just are coming out with a Shawscope box set. I think that's coming out in December or so. I already pre-ordered it, which they also have a streaming channel. And I'm going to actually do a whole video on streaming and what streaming channels are out there and what titles are out there that would be good for people who are interested in the kind of films that I've been talking about on here. When does this come out? Release date 6. No, that's I think it comes out towards Christmas or October or so. That release date was just for pre-order, I believe. So check out Arrow. They have a sale going on right now. They also have a streaming channel, which I've mentioned, and I'll cover that. I'll cover all the horror streaming channels like Shudder, Arrow, Trauma, so on and so forth. Just to go into that, I'm not here to specifically shit on streaming. I just feel that kind of going the route of physical media as of right now with some of these retailers and the discs that they're putting out, the quality and the special features and the additions is kind of still the way to go. So next up would be Scream Factory or Shout Factory. Talked about them. They have a great Halloween series that are coming out. I think it's Halloween 1 through 5, and they also have bundles that have vinyl. I mean, I've been to vinyl too. That could be a whole nother series of videos getting into like horror vinyl and soundtracks and John Carpenter's lost track releases and whatnot. So Scream Factory is another one you can go to. I'm throwing all these URLs and everything in the description and on screen as well, so you guys can click through and check them out. Synapse Films is another one coming out with Demons 1 and 2 set. Hot Dog, I think I actually just ordered this. For some reason, I love 80s ski movies. They're so quirky. So Synapse Films is another good one. I've got a couple titles coming. Oh, Jesus. There's a little prawn action for you. One company that I've heard about, I haven't had experience with them, is Olive Films. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. I think there's a lot of older titles. Not too familiar with them, but they should be included because they're also doing some classic releases and whatnot, things that aren't readily available or haven't been available. So as I get to know them more, I will talk about them, but I just wanted to include them because I have heard of them, as well as Kino Lorber. Again, not too experienced with them. Looks like they have a lot of older titles and whatnot. Curated cult. Oh boy. Oh, okay. So they have like Bay of Blood. Just looking for stuff that I'm more familiar with. Some of this stuff looks really good. What is this? Killer Barbies. Oh, Lisa and the Devil. I do have a DVD of Lisa and the Devil, I believe. It's not a bad flick. Black Sunday is pretty well known. What is that? Mario Bava, yeah. Little Italian action. Bay of Blood. Black Sabbath. Classic, of course. Okay. So that's Kino Lorber. I hope I'm saying that right. And then the last one that I know about who's putting these films out is Mill Creek. I think they have some select titles that are let's see, they have retro VHS editions, which is kind of cool. Blind Fury, there you go. There's a classic. Yeah, they have some more mainstream stuff too. A Double Team. That's as schlocky as it gets. Oh shoot! Happy birthday to me. There you go. So they've got some cool stuff. Maybe not as weird and elite as like Vinegar Syndrome, but they're, it's worth mentioning them. I don't know if you guys know of any other retailers or or distributors that are putting these films out, please go ahead and comment below in the comment section. I'm sure I'm going to get some things. Oh, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that. But that's all right. That's how YouTube goes, I guess. And then the last place I'd like to mention is Diabolic. I've ordered from them many times. Their shipping is wonderful. They're quick and they really package the orders great. So your stuff doesn't get all banged up. But right now they're on hiatus. They're catching up with orders. I believe their business is taking off. I know I've been talking about them on Twitter and other social media. So give them a whirl. They actually have a lot of the titles that were mentioned from like Scream Factory, Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow Films. They have all of those readily available. I think they're just importing them here to the U.S., marking them up a little bit and distributing them. So they're a great place to order from. You'll get your stuff pretty quick rather than ordering from overseas. That takes a little while to get to you. But Diabolic's a really great company to mention. Go ahead and don't have any fear from ordering from them. They're very trustworthy. They were mentioned a lot on the boutique Blu-ray subreddit. So let's go ahead right now. I did a little commentary myself, T3K style, on the Raw Force trailer, and that's how we're going to just end this introduction video in this series. I think next time I'm going to talk about the streaming platforms, of course, cover the major ones as well as the offshoots, the horror specific ones, and what's available on those. Get into that a little bit more because I just don't want to put a video on and say, well, streaming sucks altogether. No, there's some cool options out there as well, and I know how convenient it is. And then maybe go into a series of videos on the horror movies that I really like to get into when it starts getting into the fall season here. Once the weather starts crisping up in Michigan, I like to start watching some of the classics like Amityville and Texas Chainsaw and all those. Maybe do lists of top 10 movies to kind of get into to get you in the Halloween spirit. So I appreciate you guys. Hopefully you subscribe and like the video. I mean, if you don't like it, don't like it. But hopefully I can do more of these because I really enjoy talking about this stuff, and hopefully I can learn something, and hopefully I've taught someone who's didn't know about these releases a thing or two, and they can start getting and collecting and grabbing some of these titles. So I appreciate you, and let's roll that beautiful trailer footage.
In a time, in a place.
You order off the menu.
Big John Dick, mercenary, recovering from a leg injury, smashes you balls.
He's a walking
My leg is fully healed.
Candy
Candy, a.k.a. Cookie. Candy, deadliest weapon is her personality.
Deadliest weapon is
Wrong.
her body.
It's her judgment. Mike O'Malley, Irish samurai.
Hollywood's top stuntman.
What do you want us to do?
I want you to die.
Only this time the action.
Last time the action was fake.
Rick Chan.
Black
Belt.
third cousin of
Time for action
Bruce,
with one blow.
second cousin to Jackie.
A death blow. Only two words describe the power
Well, that
and fury of
escalated
this
quickly.
unstoppable team.
Raw force.
Force.
Wait a second. Was that Hitler? I think that was Hitler. Oh, it is Hitler.
As their carefree vacation cruise turns into hell on the high
Chainman
seas.
and Spider-Man and Arrow Man.
What was that?
A lot of nut shots in this.
Final
Jesus.
port of call.
Looks like their
Warrior
coconut
Island.
bra spontaneously
Uncharted and
combusted.
unexplored.
We should not be here.
Burial grounds for martial arts masters
Okay,
from
I'm
the
all in.
past.
Zombie samurais?
Their resting
They
places
rise from
defiled.
relatively new,
They rise
shallow
from the
graves.
dead to avenge their honor.
So a ninja, a monk, and a karate guy walk into a bar, right?
Or the living dead.
So these zombies die by kicks?
Join John Dresden.
Johnny Big D,
Gillian Kesner.
Jillian Ball Crusher,
Jeff Binney.
shirtless dad.
Raymond
Combination plate number 2 with brown rice.
and Cameron
Oh,
Mitchell.
there we go. Cameron Mitchell. Holding a M16 like a party sub. Come here, you little monkey
as
man.
they band together with the incredible power of raw,
Raw force.
untamed, and unleashed to kill.
And documentary, please.